In the glittering, rigid courts of 19th century Europe, one figure shone brighter, yet burned more tragically than any other. She was a legend in her own time, a dazzling beauty, a poet, and an enigma.
Yet beneath the diamond tiaras and the cascading gowns lay a soul in torment, bound by gilded chains.
This is the beautiful and tragic life of Empress Elisabeth of Austria, known to the world as Sisi, a royal icon whose beauty captivated an empire, but whose life ended with betrayal, grief, and a final bloody act of anarchy.
Welcome back to The Curious Past. I'm Danny.
And I'm Shan. Today, we're stepping into the opulent yet often heartbreaking world of 19th century European royalty. We're going beyond the crowns and ball gowns to explore the truly tragic life of Empress Elisabeth of Austria, famously known as Sisi.
Get ready to uncover the beautiful, complex woman behind the legend, whose relentless pursuit of freedom was ultimately eclipsed by personal loss, crippling depression, and a shocking assassination.
Born in 1837 into the Bavarian ducal house of Wittelsbach, Elisabeth was a free spirit from the start. Unlike her cousins, who were groomed for royal matches, Sisi grew up largely untamed by courtly etiquette. She loved nature, riding, poetry, and a life far from the stifling formality of Imperial Vienna.
Her destiny, however, was dramatically altered at the age of 15. She accompanied her elder sister Helene to Bad Israel, where Helene was expected to be proposed to by their cousin, the young Emperor Franz Joseph of Austria. But fate and Franz Joseph himself had other plans.
Franz Joseph was instantly captivated by Elisabeth's unconventional beauty and charm. He defied his mother's wishes, declaring his heart was set on Sisi. A whirlwind engagement followed, and in 1854, the free-spirited Bavarian Duchess became the Empress of Austria.
What began as a fairy tale quickly dissolved into a gilded cage. The Habsburg court was steeped in archaic rituals, strict etiquette, and constant scrutiny, all of which suffocated Elisabeth.
She struggled under the oppressive weight of her duties, the incessant public gaze, and the overbearing presence of her mother-in-law, Archduchess Sophie, who took control of her children, criticizing Sisi at every step.
Plagued by an intense longing for freedom and a profound melancholy that would later be diagnosed as depression, Elisabeth sought escape wherever she could. Her obsession with beauty became a form of control in a life she otherwise couldn't dictate.
She engaged in extreme dieting, often consuming only oranges or broth, and exercised relentlessly for hours each day to maintain her famously slender waist, reportedly as small as 19 inches.
Her legendary waist-length hair became a symbol of her meticulous self-care, a time-consuming ritual that often took hours to maintain. But even this meticulous devotion to her appearance couldn't mask the internal struggles.
Elisabeth's relationship with her children was complex. She adored her youngest daughter, Marie Valérie, but her first two children were largely raised by Archduchess Sophie.
Her only son, Crown Prince Rudolf, was a sensitive intellectual and hated the strict imperial world, much like his mother. Their bond was deep, yet fraught. The already fragile fabric of Elisabeth's mental well-being was utterly shattered by a tragedy of unimaginable proportions. In 1889, her beloved son, Crown Prince Rudolf, was found dead alongside his mistress, Baroness Mary Witzera, in a hunting lodge at Meerling. The official report declared it a suicide pact.
The Meerling incident plunged Elisabeth into an abyss of grief from which she never truly recovered. She became even more reclusive, dressed almost exclusively in black, and traveled incessantly, seeking solace in constant movement and avoiding the court she despised.
Her life became a perpetual journey, a restless evasion of her own pain.
The weight of her depression, the loss of her son, and her lifelong struggle against the confines of her role became almost unbearable. She lived a shadow of her former self, a beautiful ghost haunting the grand palaces of Europe.
On September 10, 1898, while on a rare visit to Geneva, Switzerland, Empress Elisabeth was walking along the promenade of Lake Geneva with her lady-in-waiting. She had dismissed her bodyguards, craving the anonymity of a normal life. It was a fleeting moment of freedom that would prove fatal.
As she headed towards her steamer, an Italian anarchist named Luigi Lucchini, who had originally intended to assassinate Prince Henri of Orléans, saw his opportunity. With a sharpened three-sided stiletto, he lunged forward, stabbing the Empress in the heart.
Elisabeth initially didn't even realize the severity of her wound. She stood up, continued walking, and boarded the boat, only to collapse moments later. The thin stiletto had pierced her heart, causing internal bleeding that quickly led to her death.
In death, Elisabeth became legend, a tragic symbol of a dying empire, a restless spirit who longed for freedom more than crowns.
Sisi was a queen who could never be tamed, and in her sorrow, she left behind a haunting reminder that even fairy tales can bleed.
The world mourned the passing of its most enchanting, enigmatic empress. Her assassination was a senseless act of violence that brought a tragic end to a life defined by profound beauty and profound suffering.
Elisabeth of Austria, the empress who longed for freedom, found it only in death, a final, brutal liberation from the golden cage that was her life.
Her story remains a haunting testament to the human spirit's yearning for authenticity, even amidst the most extraordinary circumstances, and the often unseen battles fought within the hearts of those who seem to have everything.
We hope you found this deep dive into Empress Elisabeth's life as fascinating and thought-provoking as we did. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey.
If you were captivated by Sisi's story, please hit that like button, share it with fellow history enthusiasts, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
We'll be back next time with another captivating tale from the annals of time. Until then, stay curious.